Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for this episode 3 here on BallySpring with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, as the author intended challenge continues, and as it turned out it has been challenging, but we're up here on what I have dubbed the Guinness field, but the map author calls it what, field 20. Um, And I'll explain about that in just a minute. But first, let me catch you up on the contracts that I was working on when I left you guys. We had done 58. I completed, then I left you, and I was picking up the bales on 109. And the interesting thing there was, as you may recall, on 58, we delivered 9 bales, which was just half of the bales we got off the field, and it completed the contract. So I went and double checked the bale counter, and the two fields combined had 57 bales. So I went and picked up a full wagon or trailer load. We had that bale stacking trailer. That was 14 bales. Added to the 9 is 23, well less than half of 57. I went and delivered those, and that not only completed the contract, but we sold basically 3 extra bales for $8,000. So we got to keep what would be that, 34 bales off of that field, well over half. And that was enough bales actually for us to fill up. If we take a look at our animal pens here, uh, the calf pen was able to top that up, and there's still actually a bale or two sitting on the trigger there of silage. And it filled up our cow pen, and it also had a couple bales sitting on the trigger. I didn't bother to check though; they could have been eaten into some, but I noticed this morning they're gone. So the cows, a little bit concerning. They seem to have gone through quite a bit of feed, but like I said, those bales might not have been 100% complete bales either. They might have been already kind of chewed into. So anyway, so we did really well. So we got $8,000 plus. Oh, I didn't write down what we got for 109. I think that one was worth. Ah, shoot. No, so I've forgotten. Well, basically, we ended up at the end of that when I left you, or after we bought the cows, we were at 84, and when we were done with that, we were up at about 104,000 again. Then I came up here to Guinness Hill and did this baling contract. Oh man, that took some time. I think it took me about 4 hours to do this in real life. And everything was fine until it came to pick the bales up. And we had a little Veltra, small tractor, 140 horsepower, which actually handled this hill no problem. We mowed it, tedded it, or not tedded it, windrowed it, baled it up, wrapped the bales. And what I had done is I brought all the bales down when I wrapped them, and I kind of put them all in this area, kind of in a row along here, sort of. And you probably can see that this hill actually runs in two directions. The major slope is here, that run in this straight, but there is also a slope heading down here, and that's where the issue rose. Because I was using, oh yeah, that's where I wanted to go store. As a bale loader, they gave us this Fiegel Schmetterling, I guess is how you'd say that. It holds 2 bales. Wasn't a fan of this thing in FS19. Wasn't a fan of round bales in 19 actually, but here in 22, they actually seem to have a little bit of a locking script on the bales now. So when I dropped the bales, they sat right here, no problem at all. They wouldn't roll off. I found in 19 that my bales would all be down against that hedge. So that was all good. Came up here with the bale loader, and uh, usually the first bale in wasn't too much of an issue, but when I tried to load the second bale, what would happen is, because the bales were close together, they get a little bit of jittering. If you've played in FS, you've probably noticed that. Well, as soon as that jittering started, it kind of broke the locking script, and down the hill they go. uh, Especially if you weren't lined up perfectly. If you're lined up absolutely perfectly, then you usually could scoop them up. But I would say on the first half of the bales on this hill, I would lose not only the original bale, or not only the bale I was trying to pick up, but the original bale I had in the bale loader about 30% of the time. And I had a slack of bales sitting along this edge here. And it was compounded by the fact that there's bushes along here. So they would actually be buried in these bushes so you couldn't really see. So I was thinking, man, if I was an Irish farmer sitting on here, I think I'd bring my boy out with me, and then every time a bale hit that hedge, I'd say, lad, run down to the pub and grab me a pint of Guinness. Not that it would improve the situation any, but at least it wouldn't have been so frustrating. It probably might even have been enjoyable after the third or fourth one. Uh, do enjoy a good pint of Guinness. Actually, just a useless piece of trivia. My grandfather actually immigrated from Ireland. Still have a number of relatives that do live in Ireland, so I come by my like of Guinness. Honestly, it's in the genes. Anyways, we did get it done. Oh, another issue was with that thing is you can raise and lower it, and you had to adjust the angle here because of the hill, obviously. And so when you had three bales on, you're trying to pick up the last one. If you lowered that device just a tad too much and took any weight off the wheels of the tractor at all, then you, the tractor, and whatever bales you had were in the hedge. There wasn't enough traction on the tractor to hold it on the hillside anymore. You could hold the brakes on. You could just, the wheels would lock right up and just into the hedge you go. Yeah, usually bouncing a bale off too. So, yeah, I had some fun, let me say. I actually probably should have recorded some of that, but I was doing that here first thing in the morning and everybody was still sleeping. And, I have to admit, when, air was getting a little blue around here. But I finally figured out, screw it. Quit trying to take the four bales. I just loaded on because the first bale usually went on fine. I just took them two at a time, and we were fine, and we got it done. But on this one, um, well, first off, uh, I found two collectibles along the roadside that I stopped and picked up, so that went into our funds. I got 22 bales in total off of this field, and we sold $2,000 worth of those. I thought I wrote down what I got to keep here. Oh yeah, it was eight. I got eight bales off of this, so we're back more to that one, close to the 1/3 rather than the half. So we got to keep eight bales anyways. So I found that interesting. So we got to keep more than half on the 58 and 109, and less than half on this one. So it's not consistent. And I did take a screenshot on the completion of 109, but I forgot to. I was so happy to get done this one. I didn't take a screenshot on that one when I completed it, but it was like 10,000, just over 10,100 or something like that. So we did pretty good on it. Now I did another contract to finish off the day, and that was here on field. Where was it? Right here, 135. Um, that we got 11 bales. It took six to complete. We got an extra 3,000 from that. I knew I had one bale too many, but I was using that Fleegle bale loader again, so I just let it go. And we got $7,700 for completing that. And I took a screenshot of that I'll share here in a little bit. The interesting thing about this field is the only way to get into this field is to come through this potato field. And there isn't enough of a border around that you could drive around the outside. Basically, you got to drive through it. And that holds true for, there's another grass field here. I think it was this 137, same deal. It's the only way in the field is to drive through that potato field. And I think I would have done that the opposite if it were me. I would have made this a grass field and made these crop fields because driving through a grass field, especially at harvest time or at planting time, probably wouldn't be as detrimental as driving through crop. But anyways, I'm going to head back to the farm and we'll finish our little catch up from yesterday there. So we'll see you there. Well, we're down here at the farm. This is our silage clamp here, but I've decided we're going to stack our silage bales in here for now. I'm going to continue to hang on to the excess bales until the point we get 200, which is the maximum we can store on console. And I do have a few bales here that need to be put away, so we'll probably do that on camera here in just a little bit. I did some vehicle repairs yesterday as well. I repaired our little Massey. That took over $8,000, and I took a screenshot of that so you can see the exact amount. I also made some changes to the Massey. I spent about $6,700 doing that. Unfortunately, didn't think to take a screenshot of that, but that's what the amount was. I took note of it. I added wider tires and the weights to the back, and that was so that I was hoping that I'd be able to handle these silage bales a little better. Uh, but that wasn't quite enough. So to the untrained eye, this may look like a sprayer back here, but this is actually a rear weight so that I can handle these silage bales. I made a couple aesthetic changes too while I was at it. I added the um, Silk Anniversary paint, and the roof line I changed for using the bale loader as well. So I did that. And I repaired the harvester, which was just over 4,000, and I repaired the header. And you know what? I apologize. I didn't write that one down. I kind of forgot what it was. I think it was around $1,000, something like that. But again, took screenshots of all that, so you can see it if you're interested. Now I won't always do that. Take the screenshots and from repairs or from contracts, either from that for that matter, going forward. It's just right now they are very significant to our financials here on the farm, so thought I wanted to show those, and just so you were assured that the money is going up, and it's not from any kind of nefarious goings on. I completed our harvest contract that we had. We remember we had one small field of wheat. It was field. If we take a look here, can't remember the number. Field 65. In fact, the harvester is still sitting there, and I brought that over. And our crop here is actually ready to be dumped in our silo, and it is well, just a hair over 11,000 liters. So we can go ahead and dump that in now, and that's taken care of. Oh, I can't remember if I mentioned, but on field 20, where is it here? Field 20, there were a couple collectibles up in that area just sitting on the side of the road kind of thing. So I grabbed those for 2,000. And on field 135, I completed. Oh, I forgot to finish that off. We got 11 bales off of that. So it took 6 to complete that contract. We got an extra couple thousand from bale sales, and there was one collectible up there. And these bales that are sitting here to be stacked are from that contract. So I think that brings you up with the financials on all of that. And like I said, there are screenshots and all of that except for the collection on field 20. And that brings us up to 109. So I think we're up to date with the goings on. Now I've been thinking about how we'll proceed, and I think that's what we'll do. Is I'll come on kind of the first day of the month, unless there was something spectacular that happened, and give you an update, kind of where we're at and what's gone on, and then show a little farm work at the beginning of the month, and then I'll carry on, finish the month off camera, and we will then rinse and repeat. Because for this first year, we really don't have any equipment that we can do anything on our fields other than make some hay. And if we do make hay, we got to bring it here one bale at a time. So that's not too exciting a prospect. So it'll just be silage contracts followed by silage contracts followed by silage contracts, and hopefully our money goes up and we can work our way to the sheep farm. So if anybody has any thoughts on that, if they want to continue to see the screenshots, or if they don't, or if they're okay with all the silaging going on off contract for the first year here so we can get through it. I mean, it's an important year for the farm because our cattle herd is going to be growing, but we're just going to be feeding them off the back of the contracts, and that's about all we can do. Second year will be much more going on. Oh, and speaking of financials, I had saved a couple things here that I wanted to do on camera, just because they were handy. So let's just get this out of the way, because there's a collectible in there. I'll just park this up right here for now. I'm sure that'll be in the road. I'm really, oops, ran right into the silage wall. I'm really good at parking things in the road. See, there's one tucked in there. So we'll grab that guy. And there's a couple out here that we'll pick up. Now, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to grab the baler and we're going to bale up the straw in our field. And we need to bring that over to the, oh, there's one in here too, isn't there? A little piggy right there. We'll bring the straw over to the cattle. And we will, normally I would save some of that to make TMR, but we're not going to be able to make TMR this year. So might as well just throw it all in the cattle pen. Get this guy. There we go. So those are the collectibles around the farmyard that I was aware of. So yeah, we're up to 112,000 now. What do we need? Let's just take a look. Our first field we need to buy is field 35. 80, just 84,000 we need for that field. So sorry about that. My granddaughter walked in the room there. I don't know if you heard that or not, but anyways, yeah, we have enough money to buy that field now, but it would take us right down. So I think we'll just leave that until we get a couple more contracts done. So we'll carry on and get some work done here around our place. We've got that straw to bale and pick up. We've got these bales here to stack. So I will get organized and we will get on that. And then it'll be back onto the silage contract. So give me a minute here to get things tidied up, and I'll be right with you. So what are we going to be up to for the rest of this episode? Well, I picked up a couple harvesting contracts yesterday. I picked these ones based on the crop types. These crops we could use potentially in the future, or we could just sell them on too. We'll see, but I figured might as well pick crops that we, could use the leftovers for something. There are a whack of baling contracts here. And then, oh, there's a fair number of harvesting contracts, a couple potato ones from it looks like. May tackle those, although I don't really have any place to store any leftover potatoes. But I suppose we could just throw them on the ground in one of these sheds. That would be an option, I suppose. But anyways, we want to get equipment staged up for that contract. We need to get these bales stacked up. I want to buy our calves, seeing as our money is in pretty decent shape. So we'll buy the calves that we need. So we're done worrying about the cows. And yeah, after we get all that done, we'll go from there. Probably back onto baling contracts. So first off, let's take our Massey down to the shop here. The one wheat field is right across from the shop. So we're going to take our Massey. It gets it out of the road here, and it has not been repaired yet. So we'll take it down there and get it repaired. And we'll kind of stage all our gear in the shop area, because like I said, the field's right across. So I'll catch up with you down at the shop. Well, let's see what this is going to cost us. 4,700. Well, that's not as bad as the little Massey was. We might as well repair our trailer for 410. So that took our funds down a little bit. And I think what we'll do is we'll just back this out of here and we'll just park it along the fence. Over here. Kind of out of the road. I'm not going to bother to wash it at this point. It's just going to get dirty again while we're doing this harvest. So That's probably good enough. Well, I'm going to go grab our harvester and we'll bring it down and we'll just kind of stage it in here. I don't imagine that'll bother us. Our field is right across there. So that's, we'll get everything kind of staged up here and we'll be ready to go on that harvest. So I'll catch up with you in just a minute. Well, made it down here, safe and sound. I didn't run into anything or anybody, so that was a win for the team. Let's jump in construction mode and take a look at this field and see how we can get in here. I have played on English or European maps with hedges before, but I think this is the first time I've ever played one that has collisions on the hedges. So I'm learning I have to be a little bit more precise and have to plan things out a little bit better. No, obviously not enough room to get all the way around there without running into crop. Oh, we've got a nice area here that we could stage in, but another entrance here, but there's not enough room that so there's no way for us to get in this field without running over crop, is from what I can see. Now, I don't know if that's realistic to the area or not, if a farmer would do that and he'd just sacrifice some crop getting staged, or if it were me, I'd make an entrance with a bit of a grassy area where I could get my equipment kind of staged up and ready to go. So I guess it really doesn't matter. Either one of those entrances means we're going to have to run over crops. So anyways, at least we took a look. I'm going to head back up to the farm, and I think we'll stack those bales quick because I'm going to bring the header down with the small Massey. You notice I didn't pull it down with the harvester. In these tight lanes, I think I'll be bringing the harvester header down with another unit of some sort. So anyways, we'll catch up with you up at the farm. Well, here we go. This is something else I've actually never done before, is manually stacking bales. You can see I've got one stacked up there. I did do a practice run. Well, that wasn't a very good start. I did open these forks. I spread them wide as I could get them, just so that I thought it would help us when it comes to dropping the bale. I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Once I get this critter lined up. So with the fork spread, we have a whole bunch of bales sticking out down at the bottom, so that we can set it down and pull the forks out and they won't catch. That was the plan anyways. Seemed to work okay on the first one. Going to be lots of firsts on this challenge, I think. Oh, that didn't go too bad. So, see what I mean? It's just so that there's room. The bale grabs on the stack and it doesn't catch on the fork. Ought to be pretty good at this by the time I get a stack of 200 bales in there, I think. Oops. Off on that one side, I see. Like I said, gotta learn to be just a little bit more precise. Oh, I'm still at an odd angle here. Oh, look at that. There, worked out after all. The bale is still in there. Oh, no, that is not what we want at all. Sorry, I'm going to have to be swinging the camera around a fair bit to do this job, I think. Got Well, you see, that's the kind of thing that was killing me on that hillside, where the bales would get the jitters like that, and then that locking, what little locking script they had would break, and off down the hill it would go. Whoa, whoa, down, down, down. Well, that one was a little bit of a struggle. Well, there we go. Job done. First bale stacking operation. I think we'll put this back where we found it, which was over here. Anyways, I'm going to get this tractor hooked onto the header trailer, and we'll get that taken down to the shop area there, and we'll get started on that harvest. So I'll see you down there. All right, well, we're just about ready to go here. This is the best setup I could come up with. I did initially back the header up here right on this grassy area, but because of the collision on the gate, and I wasn't able to get enough of an angle to get the harvester hooked on. But now we'll just take and move this out of the way here. Oh no, we won't. I guess we better back the harvester up a little bit. There we go. Now we should be able to move it. Still hung up there a little bit. There we go. The collision on the hedge actually helped us there. We'll just set that there. I guess we don't need our beacons going. Jump in here and we'll harvest out a little area that we can get our equipment in. All right. Now where we go? Oh, and we don't need that straw swath. So, oh, I can never remember what that is, so I'll have to go in here, turn that on. Disable straw swath, that one, there we go. Alright, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to record this, but I'm going to turn it into kind of like a time-lapse, but a montage of a couple time lapses, because we also need to bale up our straw and move those bales one at a time. So I think I'll record it all, but I'll time lapse it and put it all together, and that'll be the main jobs that we get done today. And then we'll see where we're at, because we are at 5 times, so the day's going to go pretty quick. And before the end of the day, we'll buy our caps. So I will chat with you guys in a little bit. I'll interrupt the farming here for just a minute because there was something I was going to do today and I had actually forgotten about it, but I was reminded when I did the deliveries for those contracts. Our environmental score is so poor that we are actually getting penalized or paying a penalty when we deliver. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to purchase the soil information for our fields. So we will do that. And now that at least gets us to 50%. I don't think we'll get anything extra for our environmental score, but hopefully we won't pay a penalty. I do have to mention too that on the way back to the farm with the Massey here, I found another collectible, so our money was up $1,000 from where you saw it when I dumped the crops, if I end up showing that. I have recorded everything I've done, and I will put it together in kind of a montage, a combination time-lapse montage, something like that. But we were at, when we dumped our crop, at 108,000 and change, and we were at 109 before we bought our soil information. I also wanted to point out that I only did those 2 contracts, and these aren't big fields, but you can see the shadows are getting long, and it's like getting late in the day here already. And that's what I like about running at ×5, because the days do scoot by, and it seems more realistic rather than, you could go and do 5 contracts, before lunch kind of thing. I prefer this to have more days and have the days go by. Seems more immersive. So we did get 2,400 liters from those 2 week harvests. You may not have picked up on it, but I did grab a second wheat harvest just because it was relatively close and it was the same crop, and that net us 2,400 liters of wheat. And I also wanted to mention, in case I don't show it, but I did modify our trailer. You may have noticed I added the extension to it and wide tires. That cost us $3,500. From the look of the extension, and of course putting on wider tires, to me that is something that a farmer could do in real life. I didn't change out the trailer, so hopefully that doesn't go against the rules as they were intended. If GAMINGJOY is watching, and it does, I can always put it back. I left our harvester in the farmer's field, and our header is actually at the shop so we can repair it because we have that canola harvest up in that area. All right, I think I'll go back to the regular scheduled programming. I just wanted to make sure everybody was up on that. The last thing we'll do here in this episode is we'll buy our calves, but I'm going to go ahead and get this baled up and we'll start moving some bales, and then we'll buy those calves. So we'll see you then. Well, I stopped the recording here and I went on a test version of this map, and I have confirmed that the straw trigger is right in this area right here, but it won't take bales. It has to be loose. Another little surprise. So we won't be able to put these bales into the cow pen because we do not have a bale shredder of any type. So I think what we'll do is we'll just stack these out along the field. There's that kind of grassy area you may or may not have noticed. So we'll get that done and we'll get our calves in, and that'll pretty much be a day here, I think, on the farm. So back to the farming. Well, there we go. We are done for today on the farm. And you know, I had a rethink on putting those calves in. Because if we put them in now, September 1, we're just going to have to feed them all month. And we're not going to gain anything from that. So we might as well wait until the end of the month. And then we just feed them for that day. And then the next day it rolls to the new month. They're a month old already. So I think that's what we're going to do. I have recorded everything I did today, so I will make a episode out of that. That's a little different for me as well. Usually I just, if I'm going to do a time lapse or a short montage, I know exactly what I'm going to do and I just record those pieces, but I just recorded the whole day and I'll put it together for an episode. But I think I probably won't see you now until right towards the end of the month, when we are ready to get the calves, unless there's something really exciting that happens, because it's just going to be more of the same, just working on the contracts that are available and completing them. So I'll just kind of keep track either with screenshots or list. We'll see how many we end up with, and then we'll do an accounting at the end. So, and like I said, I like this 5 times speed because we just did what, 2 contracts and baled and picked up our straw, and that's a day, and that seems like a pretty reasonable day to me. So I will leave you there for this episode. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you found this entertaining or informative anyway, I can't see how you could find it informative, but if you did, I encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But until next time, from BallySpring, this is Farmer Murphy, signing off.